Going? How is the Catch fam doing? It is Steven Scott checking in live. Show you kind of how I walk through my draft. John just posted the live draft of our 12-man league, family league with all our friends as well. This was a little bit of a different type of draft for me, shifted away from my normal RB heavy approach. Whereas John went super RB heavy, and it's just ironic that we are going to be playing each other week one. But yeah, so this was a half PPR 12-man league draft. I encourage you guys to go out and watch the live recording that John put out there earlier today on the 8th of September of our fantasy football draft the day before the first game of the season, which, I mean, come on, how excited. I was so excited. I went out and got Tom Brady, Chris Godwin, Michael Gallup. I started drafting everybody that was playing tomorrow. But I just wanted to walk through kind of how I went out and picked my guys and how I feel about them, my convictions, places where I find it to be weak, as well as kind of looking at maybe the week one matchup between John and I, and trying to give an unbiased type of opinion about who I would start out of each position. So just to start off, I went out this year. I was super convicted on Tom Brady. I do think he is going to be the MVP of the NFL season this year. And I do think he presented tremendous value in all of fantasy football, regardless of position this year, because he's got so many weapons at his disposal, a great schedule. I mean, I love Tom Brady's fantasy value. So I went out and took him. And it was interesting because in our fantasy football draft, I mean, it seemed like there was kind of a lack of a run on quarterbacks. John went out and got Lamar Jackson, who, I do feel very highly about, but Tom Brady, I don't know, there's just something about him. And I got to wait for him, got to take up a couple other skill guys and then grab my guy there. Very happy about that. Also very happy about his week one opponent in Dallas. That defense is soft as baby butter, guys. He's going to be shredding that defense up. And hopefully it's to Chris Godwin, the receiver that I went up and snagged. I'm pumped about Chris Godwin. It was Mike Evans, his teammate, got taken right before him. But I think Chris Godwin is going to present some serious value, especially in the PPR realm, which we are a half PPR league. Again, just want to put that forward. I think this is a great stack with Tom Brady and him. Week to week, I could see major upside, and I think this week is no exception. We could be talking about some explosive performances here from both these characters. My first pick, though, in my draft at running back, Austin Eckler, I find out after the draft has a hamstring injury, which is devastating, guys. This could rock my draft. This could really put me in a bind. I mean, I already knew, as I was making my draft selections, I mean, you guys can see on this roster, my running back position is super thin. And coming into it, I just want to kind of reiterate, I'm usually an RB heavy type of drafter, but this year my strategy was a little shaken. I didn't know really if I was going to be able to do it because the running backs were a little bit lighter than usual. But wow, this is a light RB roster. So if Austin Eckler goes down, this could put me in a real scramble, because we go ahead and we look at, some of the RBs available, just at week one. I mean, it's not great. We're talking about Marlon Mack, Wayne Gallman, Rex Burkhead, Darrell Williams, Giovanni Bernard. None of these guys I want to be suiting up. So let's just hope for my sake that does not happen. But if Austin Eckler can get back, I think he's a great half PPR type of value. But I took him right before Zeke Elliott. So I probably reached. I just looked at Austin Eckler like this is a guy with boom written all over him. And he's had great news coming out of training camp and preseason, and has looked stronger than usual. So I was hopeful, and I continue to be hopeful that this hamstring injury isn't as serious as it looks. Antonio Gibson is a guy that, I thought grabbing him as my RB2 was going to be a great reinforcement at that RB position, starting off my draft. With the Washington football team, I'm super excited about this team in general, but Antonio Gibson, there's been some word out of camp that he's going to be used like Christian McCaffrey, potential 3-down type of running back with tremendous upside. He played receiver in college, and I think he can run the ball with the best of them. He's going to get a ton of touchdown looks as well. I mean, last year, this guy had 10 plus touchdowns and had very limited carries. So I'm really looking forward to what he can do for my team and the type of week-to-week consistency he might be able to make up for if Austin Eckler does miss a game or two. Allen Robinson, my other receiver, I came out and grabbed him. Allen Robinson being on this Bears offense, I don't care if it's Justin Fields or Andy Dalton. I think he's going to be a great wide receiver one. Me and John did our wide receiver rankings video, and we were both super high on him. Placed him kind of around that Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen range. I actually had the chance to get a Keenan Allen here, but I just felt, even though I'm super convicted about that Chargers offense, and I do love that offense, I tend to lean away from grabbing a wide receiver and a running back in the same offense because they are kind of not going to help each other mostly on each down. Go out and get a guy in Mark Andrews who plays against John's quarterback and Lamar Jackson. So any sort of touchdown he tries to throw, Mark Andrews is probably going to be at the opposite end of that, as he is Lamar Jackson's best friend in the red zone. But I am super excited about Mark Andrews. I wanted George Kittle, wasn't able to get him, but I think Mark Andrews presents maybe top 4 upside. And I think, his floor is really top 6. So I get one of the best tight ends in the league. Very happy about that. If you guys have been watching the channel, week over week, I toot this guy's horn more than anybody. Brandon Ayuk, this is my guy right here. I'm in love with this dude, and he is an absolute killer. He's part of the San Francisco 49ers offense, who I have projected it being the team that makes it to the Super Bowl to represent the NFC. And guess who gets to play against week 1, guys? Detroit Lions. He is going to smack the shit out of this Detroit Lions team, and I am pumped for it. Then right after that, he gets Philadelphia. I mean, come on. This is a great flex receiver. If, I can just get my running back position worked out. I mean, Brandon Ayuk, Chris Godwin, Allen Robinson, that's a tasty treat right there in your top 3. Trey Lance, man, I've been ringing his bell all off season 2. I think this guy is going to be one of those generational type of quarterbacks, one of those guys who's going to really separate himself from the rest of that draft class out there. I know we've got some 49ers fans as subscribers, so I think you guys feel the exact same way that I do. Getting these two right here, Brandon Ayuk, Trey Lance, maybe a sneaky late round type of stack to go with my early stack in Tom Brady and Chris Godwin. So super pumped about that as well. Went out and took A.J. Dillon, Zach Moss late. It's funny because, like I said, I went away from my strategy. I talked down heavily on this Bills offense, especially at the running back position, because I just felt like there's never going to be a clear RB1. And I still kind of feel that is the case, but I do find Zach Moss to be the upside running back here. And in this draft, I mean, the Bills running backs were not getting taken. So I just felt like I want to get a part of this good offense here, and I want to get a part of, just getting another running back on this team because we don't have any. So I felt Zach Moss was the best pick there. I do think he's going to get me like 6 to 10 touchdowns, 10 being very, very generous. So I'm thinking more maybe a lines of like 4 to 6, but he does have that potential, man. I mean, if he takes over a serious workload here, and they just gave Josh Allen the bag, maybe they say, hey, we don't want to, put Josh Allen in too much risk. Maybe hand the ball off a little bit more. Zach Moss, with the round you can get him in, the value you can get him in, maybe a good pick. Jamar Chase, another guy I hated on over the offseason too. But I think with Jamar Chase, I got him so late. Got him, I think, round 10. And the way I felt about Jamar Chase is that he has probably most upside out of any of the rookie receivers. This was a guy who had, superstar written all over him. He was disappointing in camp, but at the same time too, I did feel like, this Bengals offense is going to be, gunslinging it to the very last second of the game. Potential T. Higgins gets hurt or something, then Jamar Chase gets even more volume. But, I do think eventually Jamar Chase is going to step into the absolute talent that he does have, and he will have that natural chemistry with a Joe Burrow. So it's more of just a flyer pick. And I think, getting Michael Gallup and DJ Chark there kind of rounds out the value and the depth at receiver and puts me in a position where Jamar Chase could be an absolute bust, or he could hit a ceiling there. But these guys week to week will allow me for a safer flex option right there. And then the Patriots defense, I do feel like any defense with the Bill Belichick regime is going to be top talent, top tier. I think, this is a defense that is losing Stephon Gilmore for the first 5 or 6 weeks, but, we'll get him back at the end stretch, as well as, this is a system that just, year over year is projecting a top 10 defense and gets after the quarterback and strips the fumble quite a bit. So do think there's a lot of turnover upside with this defense. And then I got my guy, Mr. Glasses, Mr. Rodrigo Blankenship. Very excited about that. This was a my guy coming into the draft just because I find him to be hilarious. So got a little bit of that Colts team without having to reach for it. But we look at the matchups here for week 1. So it does have me projected to win by 5 points. I'm not too, dependent on that because he also doesn't even have a kicker in the lineup. So John and I haven't actually even talked yet about our matchup yet, but he got first pick. So he did get Christian McCaffrey, the clear-cut best running back out of all of our teams here, but he's also going up against the Jets. So that could be a real dangerous one for me. But, I think Austin Eckler, Antonio Gibson versus Montgomery and McCaffrey, he does have the leverage there. And I do like Gibson's matchup, though, a lot more than David Montgomery against the Rams. That could be a nightmare matchup for Montgomery. I mean, going against Donald in the middle there, and this is a game that could get out of hand quick. Potentially Montgomery stops seeing targets, stops seeing carries earlier than later. When we're talking about matchups at the quarterback position, I mean, holy shit, this is going to be a shootout, boys and girls. I mean, Lamar Jackson versus Tom Brady. I mean, Lamar's got Las Vegas Raiders. Tom Brady's got the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know if anybody's got the clear-cut edge here, but I will say maybe it is John because that Raiders defense, it's got more holes than Swiss cheese. More holes than Swiss cheese. And we're talking about receivers. I mean, I don't know if you guys watched this live draft, but John took so many damn running backs. His receivers were left with Antonio Brown, Laviska Shenault, Corey Davis. I mean, I definitely think I have the clear-cut advantage of receivers here. Antonio Robinson or Allen Robinson, Chris Godwin, and Brandon Ayuk to go up against his guys. But I do think he's got just tremendous value at running back here. James Robinson going up against Houston. He's got all the things that you need for a great team to last you for the full season. So I love his roster. I love where he was able to get his tight end, Mike Gesicki here. I do think Mark Andrews presents more value. Obviously, I had to get him a lot earlier too, but Mike Gesicki, a PPR hog for sure, and a major part of this Dolphins offense. So I'm excited for it. And, I hope he's terrible against me, but this is a guy who's going to be a killer all year. And then the LA Rams, John actually went out and grabbed them earlier than some receivers and running backs that were on the board. And I like that pick because the Rams are going to be just as good as any defense this year. They play against Chicago and Andy Dalton. I'm seeing a lot of stacks, fumbles happening early and often in that game. But let's go over to the bench here. Again, this is a recurring theme we're going to see all night long. John went after running backs early and often and all throughout this draft, getting Gus Edwards, Tevin Coleman. I mean, Javonte Williams, who is going to be a late season bloomer for sure. But I think my receivers still do, outbeat the potential on his bench right here. But I certainly hope he plays Corey Davis. Not being biased, I think that is probably a better pickup than maybe, Laviska Shenault, not a bad pick either, but, I'm a big fan of Corey Davis. I think he's going to be one of the best sleepers in everybody's draft this year. And John went out and grabbed him with strong conviction for sure. And then Marshall, I think Trump Marshall is going to be a great pick as well. Terrace Marshall from LSU. He has been explosive, lights out in preseason. He lit up the Colts in preseason too. This is a guy who I think John got great value here because let's say DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson goes down. I mean, just got an absolute baller. And then John got sneaky. He did tell me about this. Shout out Made for TV. Gave him a little bit of advice here. Go ahead and take Rashawn Bateman. Put him on your injured reserve spot and then go ahead and take a kicker. Great strategy there. John was able to get an absolute gem at rookie receiver who's going to be out for a little bit. And then just wait on the kicker. But, overall, when looking at these teams, I do think John maybe has the advantage in terms of week 1. And I also think John has the better team here. But I'm overall pretty happy with the draft I put together. I think I've got a lot of really talented receivers. And then I've got Tom Brady, who was my guy. And I also got Trey Lance, who I think has tremendous potential as well. So it's really going to be super dependent on Austin Eckler and Antonio Gibson, who have had injuries in the past. But you know what? If they can stay healthy, we're in good shape and we are going to be doing better than others. But just to also shed a little bit of light on our league as well, another guy that we think had a really good draft, Daniel Jones. Yeah, big Daniel Jones, big Giants fan here. He had a good draft with Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, Gaskin, Tyreek Hill, Robbie Anderson, George Kittle, absolute sleeper gem right here. Brandon Cooks, as much as I want to say it from this Texans offense, and then Justin Tucker in the Packers defense with a pretty strong bench here too. I think Jarvis Landry was a good pickup, but two Texans on this offense here. But overall, we have a league that is super competitive, as well as, everybody's really good friends, childhood friends, and just we use this as a way to really keep engaged and keep together because some of our friends, live in other states, other cities, and that's what fantasy football is for everybody. We all win at the end of the day. We all want our prize, but sometimes it's just about kind of getting together and talking shop and shooting the shit about football. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed watching my team and looking at how I'm so painstakingly worried about Austin Eckler, as I spent high first round capital on a guy who might not even play week 1. But I will be throwing out more and more videos going forward, guys. And just also want to say that we are so thankful for all the love and support we've been getting over the past couple of months. We're getting closer and closer to 100 subscribers, guys. We need to try to get this by week 1, by tomorrow night. Buccaneers, Cowboys, boys. We want it. Tom Brady wants it, man. The Catch fam out in strong support. Give us some love. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. And thank you guys again. And have a great day, great night, great week, and great weekend. And win your freaking week 1 fantasy football. Let's get it.